Morning.
Morning.
Oops. Where the heck? Oh. Okay.
Good morning, Elise.
Morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So there's only 3 of us.
Well, I think other folks are joining in.
So let me ask you a question. I'm not sure whether it's my time to take that online course.
It is, I sent out an email to everyone.
Okay.
That you should be receiving an email. You'll receive an email from this, the State Ethics Commission. I just got mine, I think yesterday.
Yeah, okay. Even though I'm going to be out in June, I should still take it. Okay. All right.
Yes, please.
Okay. I hope I can get in this year. All righty. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. How was your holiday?
Very quiet, exactly how I liked it.
Oh, good. Yeah. That's the best way.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. I have soup on the stove. I'm just gonna go turn it off.
Sure.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ian. How are you?
Good.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Press Alt plus A2.
Wait, am I muted?
No, we
Nope,
can hear you.
You're here.
It says I'm muted. That's weird.
Audio now.
Nope.
Okay. Oh, it took a long time for it to tell me it was unmuted. Okay.
Space. Speech on demand.
Okay. Do we have enough people?
We do not.
We have Elise, I heard.
Yep.
And Ian is here.
And I'm here too.
And who else did you say?
Ian is here.
Yeah. Okay. So just 3 of us?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Oh, here's Cody.
Yay. Okay. So we actually do have a quorum. And we're missing Sarah and Jim. Who always come, so.
Right. I will double check my email to see if they're having issues getting in. I don't see an email from either of them, so Jim was a little late last time. And oh, there's Sarah now.
Perfect, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, this is good. So I think we should start the meeting.
So I
Um,
will go ahead and read the
Okay,
announcement. So
and you need to
pursuant chap-
record.
Yeah, it is recording, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, this meeting will be conducted via remote means. Members of the public who wish to access the meeting may do so via Zoom or by telephone. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means.
Very well done. Okay, thank you for doing that. We're going to change some of the agenda. At Pamela's suggestion, we're going to put off the website discussion because the other ones will probably take too much time. Also, Andy would like to come at the beginning of our time. So we're moving him, but until he gets here, I think we should deal with the minutes because we are in real,
So Myra,
Andy's here.
Counselor
I am
Steinberg
here.
is here.
oh, okay, he is here. Okay.
But you should be, so you could start with that issue, but you may, I just want to remind you to do the roll call really quickly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Roll call, let's see, Ian Rodewald. is
Here,
Oh,
Rodewald.
Rodewald.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Cody Rooney,
Here.
great, okay. I never realized there are three of us with Rs. Elise Link.
Yep, here.
Sarah and Darren. I think you're muted.
Yes,
Here.
I'm sorry. I'm
Okay,
here.
there you go. And Myra Ross and Jim, is Jim here yet?
He is not.
He is not. Okay, so we have 5 of our 6 members. And we also have Counselor Andy Steinberg here to talk about the meeting that the TSO had last week in response to feedback that they got at the December 9th, I guess. No, 8th, whatever day that was, meeting, and also addition to other meetings and other feedback that they've got. So, Andy, do you want to tell us where the TSO is right now and where this project is and what we might expect and what we might do?
Okay, good. Well, good morning, everyone. Myra, yesterday I sent you a copy of the committee report that we submitted to the council that covered all of these topics that you just mentioned, and I suggested you might forward it to the committee.
I don't think I received it. If I did, maybe it went to my junk, which I didn't check yesterday. But I did not receive it in my regular inbox. So,
Well,
we would all need it anyway.
which is why Pamela, were you a recipient? I can't remember.
I was not. Did not receive it. I'll double check my email and just.
I'll send it at the end of the meeting. I won't try and do it right now because people wouldn't have a chance to read it anyway. But then you can forward it after the meeting.
Thank you.
That'll probably
Yes,
be
I'm happy to do that. Let me interrupt you just for 1 second to inform Myra that Jim has joined us.
Oh, fabulous. Hi, Jim. Okay, so we are all fully constituted here. Well, we're not fully constituted, but we're all here.
So the brief summary is that there were actually the report that you will receive when Pamela forwards it recognizes that there have been 3 meetings that dealt with the topic of the original proposed roundabout plan for access to the school. And there were the December 12 meeting, which was the joint meeting with your committee and the Transportation Advisory Committee. There was a December 19 meeting at which the Town Services and Outreach Committee reviewed everything that was said at the December 12th meeting and started to try and figure out where we were in a path forward. I think we concluded at that meeting that the plan that was originally submitted is not acceptable and not one that we would be recommending to the council. But we still needed to try and figure out a path forward, both for what the ultimate plan might be for Southeast Street, because it still is a problem that needs to be addressed, and the process that we would move going forward. So those were the things that were talked about. There was, I think the important thing that came out of it is that we agreed to 5 principles, which are set forth in the memorandum that you will be receiving through Pamela later, which is the report that was submitted yesterday to the town council. And those 5 principles are as follows. And then after I read them, maybe it's a time to pause and let Myra see if there's any reaction that people would like to offer from the committee. But those are, number 1 was we should take a holistic approach that considers traffic flow, but recognizes that this is a school zone. Therefore, we should prioritize pedestrian and bicycle safety. The second point was the final plan should show placement of all sidewalks, multimodal paths, crosswalks, and walking paths, taking into consideration that there will be 2 affordable housing develops in the immediate vicinity of the school, one at the eastern edge of the campus on Belchertown Roads, and one across Southeast Street at the current site of the vacant East Street School. 3, that there may need to be changes to the East Common, and some of it may be needed for roadways, sidewalks, or bicycle paths. Number 4 was we need to include school facility staff and others identified by the superintendent of schools in the planning process. And number 5 was the school traffic challenge is 180 days and at specific times of the day, while there is a larger traffic challenge that is 365 days a year. Any plan should consider the traffic flow, transportation issues, and pedestrian and bicycle safety at all times, consistent with the Complete Streets policy. So those were the 5 principles that were identified. We then talked about options, but I'm going to hold that for a moment to see if there's any questions so far. Myra, you're muted.
Okay. All right, sorry. Now do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yes, okay. Thank you for that recitation. That's a pretty thorough list. Does anyone on the committee have any questions or comments about any of them?
I do.
Okay. Go ahead, Sarah.
My question is, those of you that were in person at that meeting with the 3 committees on December 19, and I was connected on Zoom, and my notes, I recorded in my calendar that there was going to be a meeting a few days ago at 5 o'clock. And then when I called Pamela, to see, I haven't heard anything. Is it still on? What's going on? And then she told me that there is a transportation committee meeting that evening. So then I said, okay. And she sent me the link and I joined. So there was a George Ryan, I believe, from the TSO was there. And of course, our good old friend Guilford was there. And they were talking about the Southeast thing. And I was I asked permission to speak, but it was after the TSO representative has already left the meeting. And I don't know if Guilford heard my comments or not, but I said we would like to be involved. We raised a couple of questions, and the schedule was meeting for this date and time. And I was appalled by DAC not even being called to attend or anything. So my biggest fear is what happened at the town hall with the main entrance variance they asked from the Access Architectural Board. And we found after they were granted that, we never received any communication, nothing. And here, if they are doing a partial sharing this TSO findings, which thank you, Andrew, for sharing it with us right now, but I'm appalled by why we didn't continue with these 3 committee meetings. So I was really, I felt like a done deal and just take what we give you, that kind of a thing. So that's my sensitivity in this whole thing about looking at the previous things we faced.
Well, Sarah, and I'm sorry that there was a misunderstanding about the time of the Transportation Advisory Committee meeting. The Town Services and Outreach Committee, I'm sorry. TSO had been meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning on Thursdays, on designated Thursdays throughout the entire year. And so whoever made a statement about a different time was in error. I would not have made that error. I don't think that I did. Obviously, we count on the town calendar being a helpful tool to find out when committee meetings take place. And it was unfortunate. And of course, it just was coincidental, but we are aware of the timing of the Transportation Advisory Committee meetings as being in the late afternoon because they run on a different schedule. And George Ryan, who is a member of TSO, is also the council liaison to Transportation Advisory Committee. And in that capacity, he had volunteered to attend that meeting and report on what we had talked about earlier in the morning. So that's how that sequence occurred. But where the process right now is, and go to the process real quickly and then turn it back to Myra. The TSO is the council committee that is responsible for coming up with a recommendation for the council. And we consult and get input from you and from Transportation Advisory Committee, but it is a decision that has to be made within the council committee. We are not at a point where we are making any decisions, which is why we only established principles. We did talk about various options, which was a different topic, and I was going to cover that a little bit too, to explain the complexity of the problem. But this is going to be a long sequence, and there is no immediate decisions being made. There's a sequence that's going to take place. So this is not anything that is in a rush right now to a decision, because there's nothing on the table to discuss since we rejected the proposal that was originally presented.
So, Andrew, am I correct to understand, with my understanding, that Andrew is giving the permission to contact the first consulting firm to come up with a new plan, and he's in search of finding the money, and he's trying to get it done by March?
No, he's not. There is no deadline. Yes, he is looking for a new plan, but he's looking for guidance from the TSO committee for what it is that he's going to ask them to do, because there's a lot of expense in hiring that firm to do the work. It is such a complicated process and such a complicated intersection that I think what we all have to do is, one, work together and try and make sure that we have a plan that best addresses the variety of needs that occur. But we also have to be patient, because it is not going to be simple.
Andy, are you saying that they're not going to use the same firm that came up with the original plan?
They are using the same. I assume that Guilford will use the same firm.
Yeah.
They're technical. They're engineers. They're technical people, and they followed an instruction from Guilford that was based upon his understanding, which was that no land could be used from what is called the East Common.
Right.
East Common is that strip of land that's between Southeast Street on the east side, and then there's a street that runs parallel to it that had the old original East Street School
Mhm.
that preceded Fort River on the other side, which is going to become affordable housing. And that land in between is a small common that's referred to as the East Common. And the instruction that he had given to the firm was that no land could be taken from the East Common. And so that their proposal was constricted by that understanding, and they were trying what they said to us on the 12th is that they came up with the only plan that they could reach that would not touch any of the land in the East Common, and that was very constricting. They also said that they would provide pedestrian and bicycle plans into a subsequent drawing had we accepted the first plan for further development, but we've rejected the first plan. So that's why they didn't draw it in. we ask them, therefore, in the principles, that they also provide that at an earlier stage with whatever the next plan will be. But it's not going to be easy because there are some significant problems, partly timing, but part, uh, things like the biggest challenge for it is probably in the end going to be to allow traffic to leave the parking lot of the new elementary school that's going to have to go in and out of that one entrance that's closest to Main Street. And being able to allow that traffic when there's a large number of cars that are coming out, either because of the end of a meeting or the end of the school day or the end of the workday, is going to be a major challenge that we have to consider how to deal with. We did talk with Guilford rather about, a series of possibilities that people threw out, and he explained the problems with each one of them. Every one of the solutions has problems. There is no question about it.
Are you still there, Andy?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. So there are, does anyone else have a question or comment? No, I have a question. Number 5, could you expound on what that means?
Well, I think it is really 2 sentences to it. The first sentence is fairly specific because it's a heavily used street and it's used 365 days a year, and it's used throughout the day and night. And then you have school days where you have 180 days of school and specific times of the day where there are specific needs for the school. And you're layering those two on top of each other, because if you're just designing for one purpose or another, then you'd focus on it. But this time you have to focus on both realities, that there is the school there, that there are heavy times of, mostly in the morning and in the afternoon, as school day begins and school day ends. And the other sentence was that plans have to consider traffic flow, but they also have to consider all transportation issues, including pedestrian and bicycle safety, which is consistent with the principle known as complete streets, which means streets that meet all needs of all users.
Okay. It is almost an impossible task. And I commend all of you for trying to work on it and for us trying to work on it. So it feels like to me that the concerns of this committee and the ones elaborated in the town council meeting of September 23rd were definitely heard. Because they're almost all the same concerns. So it feels to me hopeful. I guess it doesn't feel hopeful to Saren. I guess what we would like to know is we'd like, instead of having us hunt through the town calendar, which isn't very easy for most of us to do, or for at least some of us to do, to find out when the TSO is meeting and what the agenda is going to be. If somehow we could get a 1-sentence email from somebody when you're planning to discuss this topic, I think that would be very helpful to us. Because for us to go, for us to think about, oh, when are you going to meet? Or when, what are you going to discuss? Look up the agenda. I don't, well, from speaking for myself, but I think also for at least one other person, it is not easy to access those agendas on the website.
Nope,
That's the other person.
please, yeah.
Yeah. So, that's an issue for the website, but I think the assumption that we can just easily look at it and it takes 30 seconds of our lives is not true. So if we could be told when you're going to meet, that would be real helpful. If we could be told, what's coming up, I guess this committee, has some, what shall I say? We have some wounds, because some things have been done circumventing this committee that were very, very, very important and that could not be undone. And we have felt left out of the loop on a variety of things and relatively powerless about some other things that were pretty critical. So that's, I think, why you're hearing all the distrust, because it's well earned, not by you, but it is well earned by other experiences that we've had. So if you could let us know, I used to receive the notices about the TAC. I don't receive them anymore. I guess because I didn't go often enough. But so that would be something perhaps we need to find a person who is going to be willing to attend these meetings and be willing to say they're going to attend these meetings. So that's our thing to work out. So you have no timeline. You're going back to the drawing board. He is allowed, the engineering firm is allowed to use some of the space that is now in the common. And is there any, oh yeah, here's my question. There is a gentleman on the TAC who is British, and I don't know his name.
Oh.
He made a comment at the very, very end, which I thought was incredibly useful. And I hope people heard it because it was practically when people were leaving. He said that in Europe, there are audible signals at roundabouts.
Yes, that's right.
He said that, but I don't even know how much of the floor he had and whether people were really listening. And is his name Marcus? It just comes to me. Is that his name?
Yes, I think that's right.
Okay. Anyway, he made a very, very important comment. And I think that that comment needs to be front and center in discussions of the TAC and of whatever they say to you. I don't know if he'll say it again, but he said it. And in front of your committee. I don't know anything about European roundabouts and audible signals, but apparently he does. And I think that needs some research into that should inform this process.
Well, it was my understanding that on the other roundabout that we've talked about most recently, which is the one that's going to be at Amity Street and University Drive, sort of just south of the university campus and north of Big Y, that roundabout was redesigned with the technology you just described.
Those are, as far as I understand, I wish it wasn't, but as far as I understand, those are flashing beacons that are not, they are not stoplights. They are flashing beacons, which don't have the same power with a motorist as a red light. And so I wish that they would even consider red lights there. I didn't know that that could be done. And I think it's worth somebody talking to Marcus and finding out what he knows, or finding out where he could connect us, or maybe Tracy knows about these things in Europe because she's a transportation expert. But I do think that's a topic that ought to enter into your deliberations, because you're going to make the decisions, and it's a really important topic.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Anybody? That was Saren. Did you want to
Yeah.
speak? Okay,
Yes,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I got interrupted by, I'm ill and I was getting an appointment with a doctor. But my thing about what is out there, these consultants who makes hundreds of thousands of dollars from design, I think they should be aware of what works, what doesn't work. And also, in my opinion, and also the first consulting firm, I think they just focus on traffic flow. But that is the area for new school with new kids, and also two housing developments right at that street. So it wasn't, I mean, the pedestrians, the children, and bicyclists, and the people with disabilities were not on the top concern at all. It was
No.
just smooth traffic flow. So I just want to just make my opinion, and I hope their focus has changed since then.
Well, their focus is going to be apparently whatever Guilford tells them the focus
That's
should
right.
be.
And
And-
we know he
Yeah.
just loves roundabouts.
Yeah. Well, you know, it is not the first thing on his mind.
No,
Accessibility, pedestrian safety is far from the first thing on his mind.
never was.
We have learned that over years.
Yes, yes.
And so I hope that when he's given the charge from you about what to tell them to ask for, that those things are included. I mean, they heard us say them, but he is going to give them the revised charge. And I hope that you make sure that he gives them a good revised charge. So that's a very helpful comment there.
And I just want to insert, don't want to take too much time, but it will take a few minutes. And going back to my memory, there was a bridge that needed to be redone on Station Road. That became a big issue. And they were thinking of doing a good bridge, and there were so many hearings and everything. And we people who live in Amersfoort and use that Station Road all the time, we couldn't afford to wait 5 years or so for them to find a grant to build this state-of-the-art bridge. And I know Guilford was very much against doing anything other than that. But I know Martha is one of those persons pushing for this quick solution. And she met with a person who was very knowledgeable in Amersfoort, and they built that bridge, which is there right now. It is not 2-lane or anything. It works beautifully, and it keeps its shape even through 2 winters we already had. So sometimes they wait to hold things until they have big monies. They can tear down the whole sidewalks, and they don't want to do patchwork here and there. But I think the approach should be a little different. Maybe with this intersection, maybe they might need to wait and see a little bit, see what is happening, what needs to be done. And maybe provide safeguards to students during school hours, and extending, paying more money to those guards and everything. So that's my opinion.
This is going to be a difficult area to come up with a solution for. I just don't want to make it seem like there's going to be the perfect answer. I don't think there's going to be the perfect answer. I think there were two different topics that we sort of veered off on because Myra, you started to talk about what Marcus's statement was, and I have to check with Marcus because what was he talking about a stoplight, or was he talking about audible signals to let people know when there was the crossing of some sort? I don't know what he meant.
I don't know.
And
But
so
just because he was talking about one doesn't necessarily mean he couldn't be talking about the other. I
yeah,
just
we
thought it
don't
was,
know. We
I
don't
thought
know. We
thought
need
it
to
was
check
very
with them.
important comment that happened at the very end, and I don't know how many people heard it. That's why I brought it.
I will check with Tracy and Marcus about that. If I can't find Marcus's number, our email address, I'll get it through Tracy and try and see what he was referencing. But I think it is, it's sort of a wider issue because it's a general traffic roundabout issue as opposed to a specific Southeast Street issue.
Well, it's both of them put together, I would think. I
Yeah,
don't know.
no,
You're
I mean,
right. I mean, I don't know
yeah,
that any of us think that there's going to be a magic bullet here. There was a huge mistake made in citing the school there. There is
Yes.
nothing we can do about that. I know you didn't think it was a great idea. And I mean, there are political issues that made it happen there that are extremely unfortunate. But all of that added together, still, it has to be safe for people there. I'm going to bring up one more topic. If you're going to take some of the green space, which I understand you need to, the affordable housing that's going to be on the site of the school is currently designed, I haven't seen the design, but the current plan for it was to have it on that little road there, which is a pretty quiet little road. It is a pretty quiet little road. When this is changed, it is not going to be a pretty quiet little road. And I think the people who are going to live there, I think maybe they need to think about the orientation of those buildings so that a lot of people's apartments don't look right over that very busy road. They might want to change it to the other direction. I don't know what they've planned, but the nature of the neighborhood in which that building is, or those buildings are going to be put, has changed with the incorporation of some of the green space as road. And that's another complication, but I think those people deserve the nicest place that we can build for them. And it's not going to be what was envisioned. Well, I mean, it's not going to have that little road there like it was a year ago or like it is today. So I just want to sort
actually,
of,
that's not known yet because there have been various plans that have been presented, and we talked about during the TSO meeting on both on the 12th and in the meeting that just happened last week. But one of them was to make the road that you're referring to that goes along the other side of the common, one way going southbound and the other one in the current major Southeast Street, make it one way northbound. That is probably not going to be a solution. It's probably not going to be what we're going to end up doing because there were complications in design. There was, and this gets I try not to be too complicated about it, but in order to do that, you'd have to have a much larger roundabout on the north end to even make it so that traffic could flow, because you'd have to divide the traffic coming from the north on Northeast Street, and so that it would have the flow that would be envisioned. And that that's just not really feasible to do that. You know, when you come down to it, there are very few feasible plans.
Yep.
That's where the difficulty comes in. And but we are dealing with the fact that the school is where it's at, that the entrance road is very close to Main Street, and that putting those two together has created this dilemma.
Yep. I just wanted to bring up the housing, just because the circumstances of that road are not going to be what they are now. And I want to make sure that the people who are going to move in there have the best possible living experience based on the fact that there's going to be a lot of traffic that there
I
wasn't.
don't think there's going to be any more traffic than there is now.
You don't think? Okay.
No, because if you're not going to make that part of the major flow of traffic, it's going to stay pretty much what it is.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Do you know,
I can't
guess-
promise. I can't promise you a solution that you're going to be happy with. I don't know if you heard a comment that was actually made on the 12th about peanut-shaped
Yes,
traffic roundabouts,
yes.
and that is very hard to describe. I had to go into afterwards and actually Google that term and look at some examples to even get an idea of what they were talking about. But essentially, it's an elongated roundabout. Instead of being a circle, it's a much longer shape.
It's like a
And
figure eight, right?
yeah, it's sort of pretty much of a figure eight. Um,
He described it to me as squishing the two roundabouts near Atkins, squishing them together.
yes.
Is that the peanut?
In a much
peanut?
smaller space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we would have to see a drawing of it to really understand it. And then you get to the second question of what could you do about pedestrian flow and safe pedestrian flow? And I think that what you would have to do is have a walkway along the common and a protected and separate crossing further south. But you know, I trust others that have more expertise to come up with whether that's really the most feasible way to go about doing that.
What about a footbridge?
Yeah, well, even the footbridge has problems because you have to get to the bridge level to do it.
Yeah, I just hope they're going to think about all of those things. Because it's not, in the end, people are going to live there, people are going to walk by there, people are going to ride bikes by there. They have to be able to do it. And so I don't know how that's going to work. And I'm no engineer, and but I thank you for coming here and letting us know. So we know you're in the middle of a process. We hope that somebody will inform us as to when you are going to be meeting on this topic. Thursdays at 10, every third Thursday, every second Thursday?
We don't know. I was going to mention that too. Council committees serve for 1 year and from January to January, so that yesterday after the meeting, the council president sent out a questionnaire about who's interested in what committees, so that there will be some shifting of committee membership. And then the committees meet later in January, and they determine based upon their own personal schedules when they can agree to meet.
Got it.
And so the meeting times can change for, so that, we don't know until we know who's on the committee, whether
Okay.
that works as the regular time. But I will keep you informed, and I made a note of that.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Steinberg, may I ask a question? Who's the staff liaison for the committee?
For that committee, it's the town manager.
Oh, okay. All right, so I could probably reach out to Angela to find out when they'll be meeting, because she'll manage.
I'll let you know. I will I will let you and Myra know what
Okay.
is happening when we have the committee appointments done.
Okay.
But I would not expect that we're going to return to this topic in January. It's possible. I will let you know if that happens, but we would need to get the new committee appointed, and it has to go through the process then of electing a chair, and all of those things have to occur before we really can organize and get going. So it may be February.
Okay. All right. Thank you for coming. Thank you for keeping in touch with us. Thank you for hearing what that large committee said. Thank you for having that meeting of those three committees. I think it was really useful. And I think we're all aware that it's a big mess, and we just don't want the process to be a big mess also, because we know about big mess processes and we don't want any more of them. Okay.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, minutes. We need to do this. So, I guess what I'm going to ask, have people read the minutes?
Not all of it.
Not all of it. I read all of it. Did anybody else read any of it?
Yes.
Yay, Cody read it. Okay. Did anybody else read it? Any of it?
Yes, some of it.
Okay, so, are you prepared? Pamela, do we need to vote them individually, or can we vote them as a group?
You can vote them as a group.
Okay, so, one of them had like a couple sentences that tailed off in the middle, but I don't think anybody can fix them because I'm not sure what that was supposed to be. So, I mean, I think they're a pretty good accounting of what we did. And, I would like a motion to approve the minutes so we can put them on the website.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Cody. Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank
This is
you,
Ian.
Ian. Okay. All, excuse me, all in favor. So we'll do a roll call. Cody?
Yes.
Okay, Ian,
Yes.
Elise,
Yes.
Saren,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and me. Okay, so we're all voting yes. So we have minutes. So we're not going to deal with the website. We do need to deal with the size of this commission. And as I read all the notes, it did look very much like we repeatedly voted for 9. 9 was what I proposed, but I'm having second thoughts. So I want to make sure that 9 is still what we want to do, because we have 6. Right now, we would have Pamela would be 7. If we can find another person, that would be 8. I did not do my job and try to find another person. I don't know if anybody else did, and I don't know if we have any applications. But if you still want to do 9, knowing that the committee as it is now would be 7, including Pamela, but remember Elise wants to get off, so that's 6. And we would, if we need 9, we would need 3. If we need 7, we would need 1. So I'm not going to bring it up again, but Paul wrote to me last week, and he wrote the whole email is 7 or 9. And so we need to know, because he's ready to appoint this commission. He's been waiting to do it for a while. He didn't write last week. I guess he wrote in December, but we had already met. So I want to know what you think, 7 or 9?
And Myra, quick question, this is Ian. A quorum for meetings is majority, right?
The
That's correct.
majority of those appointed to, no, of those, it's 5 if you have 9, even if you only have 6 appointed members.
Right,
So
exactly.
you
Okay.
have to have, it's a quorum of the number of people designated for the committee. It is not, okay, I said that wrong.
Can I?
Half plus 1
Mhm.
of the number of people that are actually authorized for the committee is a quorum. It
So
is
this-
not half plus 1 of the people present, which I did not, or half plus 1 of the people who have been appointed. So if it's 9, we have to have 5, even if we only have 6 members. So thank you for the
Myra.
question. Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Myra, I also understand that at least one member of the committee has to be a family member of a person with a disability. Is that correct? So that
Yeah.
would be, I assume it's only one, but I don't know that for sure.
That is true. One has to be a town appointed or elected official, which would be Pamela, I hope, unless she wants to run away from us. And one has to be a family member of a person with a disability. And the majority of the people have to have a disability. Ian has said that he is a family member of a person with a disability, and I am a family member of people with disabilities. Because I have really good genes and 2 of my kids got them. So,
Okay.
I think we're covered in that way.
Okay, thank you. That clears that up.
Okay,
I have a question.
yeah,
Say we go with 7 now, and then we realize, oh, these people show an interest. I wish we could get them as member. How difficult is it to make the change from 7 to 9?
it's an interesting
It is
question.
difficult because it requires action by the town council. So it's not simply that you're going to make that change.
And there was a candidate I found, which is excellent, and I called Pamela about it, and she lives in Shutesbury.
Nope,
And she said, yeah, and they have to be residents of Amherst. She was
yes.
excellent, but she works in Amherst. So
Wait, she lives in Amherst?
she works.
No, she
At
has to live in Amherst.
Yeah, I know. I don't think she and her old husband has any plans to make any changes, but she is the one who trains service dogs, and she was the co-president at the common school for many years. She's really excellent, and she's retiring, but
Okay,
I
but she doesn't
tried.
live in Amherst.
And I even contacted Joe's wife, and she said she's really interested. She would be, and she was honored, but she said she'll be out of the area for a couple of months. So she cannot make a long-term commitment
Okay.
at this point.
Thank you
So
for
I
doing
did
that.
my duties, but I think it is kind of difficult. Maybe may I recommend that we stay at 7?
That's what I'm thinking. Also, I did write to Paul and I said, could we say up to 9? And he wrote back and he said, nope, has to be 7 or 9. And he's just, I think the point of the quorum is the issue.
Mhm. Yes.
And I think if we need to have 5 and we only have like 7 members appointed, we're going to run into quorum issues And that is something that we have, in my time on this committee, only run into once, last fall. But we always manage to get people here, and I'm worried about the 9.
Yes, me too.
Anybody else have an opinion? Because that's just 2 of us. And there's a majority that isn't us. So what do you think?
No, I agree. 7 is a safe number to go with.
Okay, thank you. Ian, Elise, Jim,
Yeah, I'll echo what Cody said, in terms of 7 and the quorum being safer.
I
okay,
think
do we have
7.
any opposition to 7?
No.
No. Okay. All right. The more I slept on it, and that's why I brought it back, I thought, we're being very optimistic, but 9 people is a lot, and 5 in a quorum is a lot. And so I think we need to protect ourselves. I think Cody phrased it really well. He said safe, and I think that's exactly right.
I
Okay,
agree. I echo that.
excellent. I forgot to ask you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No,
Okay,
I mean,
all right.
because I'm kind of, yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna write to Paul. I'll write him a 1-word letter, email, and just says 7.
And translated into a couple of languages, so.
Okay, all right, so, he contacted me about a person. I don't know enough about this. Pamela, do you know about this commission that's gonna have to do with traffic, with maybe, I don't even know what it had to do with. He wants one of us to be appointed to it. And I don't, it's in the minutes. Are you able to look at the minutes for November or December?
Okay. Yes, I am able to look at the minutes. Let me.
Okay, he wants to appoint a committee, and he wants a permanent member of that committee to be a DAC member. And I wish I remembered what the committee was for. You have to forgive me, I'm not exactly healthy today. I apparently don't have COVID or the flu, but I feel like I do.
Mm.
I took one of those 4-in-1 tests. There is one now. You can
What is
go
that?
and you can take a 4-in-1. So it'll tell you if you have RSV, either of the 2 flus, or COVID all in one.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know it either. I went last week and they told me about it. And David just did it. And he just interrupted me and during the meeting to tell me I'm negative for all of those. But
Oh, good.
it's interesting that you can get all 4 of them now in one.
So that was, you said it was in the November meeting?
Either that or December.
Okay, and it was a request from Paul?
Yeah, it had its own little paragraph near the bottom somewhere.
I don't remember seeing it in November.
You didn't see it in
no.
November. Okay.
No, maybe December.
All right. Well, I'll have to find out. I'll in my 1-word email, I'll add another paragraph. Okay. What else do we have to talk about today?
So I have an update on the MOD grant.
Oh, yes, and I bet it's not so good. Go ahead.
So I did speak with Nate Malloy, and he confirmed that the town did receive an MOD grant for renovations at Munson Memorial Library, and they have expanded their own budget so that all of the renovations and a little bit extra will be there. Nate couldn't recall the exact amount, so I'll have to get that from him at a later date, but that has been approved.
Fabulous.
Wow.
So here's another communication issue. Nate Malloy should have let you know.
Yeah.
Since we were signatories to the application.
Yeah, I think that planning is is a little bit stressed right now, not to make total excuses for them, but you know that Chris retired and is coming in sort of part-time, and they are down a planner. Rob Wachilla, who was the person
Yeah, he
who
was the one who wrote the
wrote
grant.
the grant,
Yeah.
is no longer employed by the town. So I think there's a little bit of a gap there. But I was able to learn from Nate that they did receive the grant funding.
Okay, that's
Wow,
great.
that's
I didn't
very
see it in the
good.
newspaper either, but I missed things.
Right, yeah, Nate told me that they haven't made an announcement yet, so that's why you
Okay.
haven't seen it publicized. But they have received the grant. Yeah.
Okay, that is fabulous. Wow, okay, very cool.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, and so next month we're going to talk about the website.
Right, so also on the agenda for today was the condition of the town sidewalks. And I had hoped.
Oh, how many hours do we have?
Oh, my God.
Okay,
Yeah.
All right, and I had hoped that we could at least go have a little bit of time on the website if folks had even just reviewed their links, so I could, if anyone's done that, I could just mark whether they're, the links are not working, or we should keep it, or we should not keep it. And I don't, just to go through the list very quickly. But if folks have not done that, then we'll put it all off till next month.
okay. We should put it off till next month as far as I'm concerned. What about the rest of you? It was
agree.
holiday season. We didn't,
Well,
Yeah.
I did review the links I was supposed to review.
you did. Oh, you get a gold star. What did you find out?
There's 2 points. And I suspect they hold up for most of the other links too. I mean, one is that they're horribly outdated and in some cases non-existent. I mean, you click and it's to another kind of site. No porn or anything like that, but it's another kind of site. It's just, and so I'm not sure any of those links will be terribly useful. The other thing is that we should consider is, what exactly do we want? How do we want these links to work? Are we trying to, just give people volumes and huge amounts of information, or are we trying to give them really practical stuff about your rights as a disabled person in public housing, access, how do you appeal, those kinds of things? So we might want to look at what other commissions have done as far as their links are concerned, because I think what we've got now is outdated and voluminous. That's my overall take on it.
I agree, because I
Is it
did
about
look at some of them.
advocacy? Are they
Huh?
about advocacy, Jim, or what are they about? Or what are they supposed to be about?
You're muted,
Me or Jim?
Jim, you're muted.
Muted.
We lost Jim.
No, it's,
Oh, no, you're
I
there.
got confused there for a moment. I had a fair housing link, which was just lots and lots of other links. I had home modification, which was a bunch of lawyers and an essay on disability lawyers. I had fire safety, but when I clicked on that, I got nothing. I had benefits for people with disabilities, but it was only SSDI, and that was very perfunctory. I had Medicare and Social Security disability, and this was more like find the plans that work for your needs. I don't know, Humana, United Healthcare, all these wonderful things.
Oh, good.
Money Saving Pro, nothing was there. An American Association of Health and Disabilities, very vague, not very useful.
Okay, so I guess the question is let's look at some other commissions. I like your idea of knowing your rights. But your rights about what, we can't even.
Elise has her hand raised.
Okay,
I also looked at my links and 2 of them were not working. And I agree with Jim. There was just so much information to plow through and I didn't, it's too much. That's all I can tell you right now.
Elise, do you know which 2 were not working?
Yeah, I'm trying to, I
You
should have
can
made
email me
notes.
later. If you know.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I will email you because there were 2 that that really one page was not found and one page just wasn't working.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did check that out. Sorry, I can't pull them up quickly.
Nope, that's okay.
Okay. But the other two were just, I mean, you have to plow through a mountain of stuff.
Hmm.
Okay.
All right, so we have a lot of work to do about what information is on there under the disability. Under the disability page, the DAAC page or the commission page or whatever it's going to be, right? Should there be a lot of links, do you think?
So I'm going to make maybe a suggestion that I just inform Sam that she can remove any of the links that are not working, right? Because if they're not working, we can just go ahead and dismiss those off the page.
Yes,
And perhaps maybe the commission could think about, as Jim suggested, what information you think should be relevant to include on the page. I had sent out, I think this was several months ago, some links to other commissions, and I can resend that information out to the group to help you decide what you want to include, what you don't want to include.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. So I didn't do it. Is there anyone else who did it? Okay. So next month, I think mostly we're going to deal with the website. And the, sidewalks. We have to talk about sidewalks. We need to know how much money is in the budget for sidewalks and how they prioritize which sidewalks they're going to do.
Not enough money. Not nearly enough. Yeah.
Yep. So do you know who's responsible for
Guilford.
selecting the sidewalks that they do?
Guilford, probably.
Right, so Guilford has placed it on his calendar to be here next month. And
Okay,
I can present this question to him.
okay,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that one of the sidewalks that we reviewed last fall, there was a dispute about whom should repair it, whether it should be the town or the
yes,
private property manager or
yes,
the company that had actually,
broken it.
dug up the sidewalk, but
Yeah. David told me he thinks it's been repaired. Did
That-
anybody look?
that one was
If we-
repaired.
Are we talking about South Pleasant Street?
Triangle Street.
I'm sorry, which street?
Triangle Street, the one that was on the walkthrough.
Oh, yeah, that still looks like it's under construction from what I can see.
Right, we have, I mean, I just don't go out in the cold.
I don't either. I never go there anyway.
Now, I drove past there a couple of weeks ago, and it didn't look that much different from when we were there. I'm not saying there hasn't been any work, but it's not like there was a lovely sidewalk waiting to be used.
Okay,
This is a bad time of year to do, concrete and asphalt and all
right,
that
right.
kind
You
of
can't
stuff.
do it now, but we have to select where. Now, when you
Yeah.
were talking South Pleasant Street, which ones were you talking about?
South
Where?
Pleasant Street was where Barry Roberts is developing that dorm/new housing. And it's between La Verda Cruzana and the Hastings building. And that was completely dug up. And it wasn't clear to me whether the responsibility there would be the town's or the contractor, the developer. But in any event, it was paved over with asphalt and it's serviceable now.
Okay. And what about College Street at Southeast Street, which we were told would be fixed?
there's been no progress there on any of the problems that I identified whenever it was 2 months ago or something like that.
Okay, when you talk to Guilford, Pamela, can you refer to those? Because he did tell this committee pretty directly in August that as soon as they were going, that they were finished with the intersection work, they were going to repair that sidewalk that Jim was very clear about, and apparently he didn't.
So, Jim, would you remind, College Street, what's the second street?
I'm sorry, I didn't. I think the outstanding issues are
Triangle.
College Street and Triangle Street.
Triangle.
All right, and Triangle Street, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's not an intersection. College and Triangle and is not an intersection. It's College Street west of Southeast Street. Our favorite place. It's a completely different place in town.
Okay. All right,
And
I
then
will,
the other one is the Triangle Street that we went on the walkabout. And then there are a myriad of other sidewalks. So we just need to know how much money is allocated and where is it going to be allocated under general sidewalk repair? Or is it going to be allocated under ADA improvements or both? Because they do have in the capital planning plan, they have a set aside for ADA physical improvements. And I don't know what they have in mind for that for this year. So that would be good for us to know. Like what's going to be, what's in the capital plan for ADA improvements for this year? And it might be the rest of the money for the Munson Library. I don't know.
Another thing, Pamela, is there any way you can clarify if there is any money left from the ADA line in the capital budget, could it be rolled over into the following year? I think we inquired about it at some point, but I don't remember the definitive answer. Does anyone else know? Remember?
No, I don't know how they are dealing with the capital for that. Operating, no. Capital,
Yeah.
maybe. So that's a good question.
And maybe we
Does
can,
the capital?
Yeah.
Does capital roll over?
yeah.
But I know I know there is a set aside, or at least they said years ago that there was going to be a set aside for ADA improvements in the capital line each year. And then they have money that they're using to repair sidewalks, which might come extra to that, out of the general capital fund. I don't know what the plan is, but it would be good for us to know, and Guilford probably knows that stuff, or at least somebody on the Joint Capital Planning Committee would know.
so I will, Guilford's already stated and has placed on his calendar, he will attend the meeting next month, and I will inquire of him whether he has the answers to these questions or whether I need to reach out to Rob Mora, someone in the planning department around the budget for the ADA.
Perfect. Thank you
improvements in
so
the
much.
capital plan.
This is great. Okay. Anything else? New business?
No, I think you've covered everything else that's on the list.
Okay.
Do we have to do public comment? It looks like there's maybe one more participant than we have on the panel.
Yeah, so we actually, I'm glad you said that. We should have two, but one might have gone. We have two new CREST responders, and I was going to just introduce them to you before we adjourn, but why don't you call for public comment? I don't know if there are any others.
Is there anyone here for public comment? Thank you, Ian, for bringing it up.
Yeah, no, I think it's just the one responder. So I'm going to promote Eric to a panelist so that he can make an introduction.
Cool. Okay. Welcome, Eric. I don't know your last name. but. well,
Jones is his last name, so.
Jones?
Yes, Jones.
Okay, cool.
Hopefully he's
Okay.
in. There he is. So, all right, so Eric, you can, if you're able to turn your camera on and you can unmute yourself, you. Okay, so, oh, well, you know, he is, just sent a message, so he might be in the midst of something else because he's unable to come on calendar. So why don't I'll just take a moment to
Tell us about them. Okay.
Yeah. So the CREST department, which is the Community Responders for Equity, Safety, and Service, just recently hired, well, I would say like in the last 2 months, is it? Yeah, 2 new responders, Eric Jones, whose photograph you can see on the screen, and Taylor Haggart, who is not able to join us. Erico, you're there?
Yes, hi, I'm here.
All right.
Oh, cool.
Yes, hi. My name is Eric Jones. I'm a new CREST responder for the town of Amherst. I just started December 4th. I have experience in the Springfield public school system, working with kids who have a hard time. I was a behavior interventionist for about 6-7 years. So now I'm, doing something a little bit different now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming to our committee. Do you, Pamela or Eric, do you foresee any application of their roles to people with disabilities?
Well, I would argue that their role currently includes assistance for individuals with disabilities because anyone can access their services. And I would argue that some of the individuals who have come up to seek assistance from the department would be considered individuals with disabilities. I don't know if they have a specific carve out as part of their mission at current, but certainly, I mean, their services are available and accessible to anyone in town to use.
Okay, and so I assume that some of the people will have mental health disabilities because oftentimes people who get into situations like this do. Not all the time for sure, but is there any role for this committee involved with CREST, or is it we just need to know?
No, so I actually think that there might be a role under their current Department of Public Health grant. The CREST department has been asked to hold some public sort of forums that would be open to everyone in town, but would specifically seek to have representation from, a variety of different populations and constituencies. And so when they have their public forum, I don't know if Camille has scheduled them, but I could certainly see that as one opportunity for the commission, the new commission to weigh in. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure that we informed the committee that Camille, who is their director, is also a licensed social worker. So she has a clinical, in addition, her first career was as a Holyoke firefighter, and then she went on to get her degrees in social work. So she has some background and expertise in the area.
So can you keep us informed about timing for that event?
I'll be happy to, yes.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, thank you, Eric. Welcome to the whatever we are, DAAC, COD. We're about to have a name change.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. All right. And the other person is Taylor.
It's
And-
Taylor Haggard, yeah, and so she was on a call earlier. She joined for a bit of the meeting, but
Okay,
she's not with us now, so I assume that she's out on a call.
okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We will have a meeting in February. We may by then be a commission. I'll write to Paul right away. And February 11 would be the date of the February meeting at 11:30.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, thank
Right.
you.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Myra,
everyone.
before we go, in terms of the February meeting, is maybe a quorum issue for February, but I will probably not be, I'm having my hip replaced at the end of this month.
Ooh,
So
Ooh.
I will probably not be in
Ooh.
attendance for the February meeting.
okay, thank you for
Good
letting
lu-
us know
good
and
luck.
good luck.
I have a question.
Thanks.
Yeah.
When we get reappointed as a commission, am I still with you guys or what's the story?
Well,
That's what I'm
I
confused.
guess I had hoped that you would stick with us until June, but if you don't want to, that's up to you.
Oh, I want to stick with you. I just have, it's not a question of wanting, it's a question of stuff going on in my personal life that keeps me from really, focusing very well. I'll try to stay on.
Okay, why don't you think about it? Let us know. Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
all right. Thank you, everybody. Stay warm.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
too.
All right,
Okay,
thanks,
all
everyone.
right.
Mhm.
Bye-bye.
right.
To
Bye.
adjourn or?
Oh, yeah,
do we
right.
already do that?
Thank you. You
I
need a
move
motion
we
to
adjourn.
Thank you, Elise. Jim, are you going to second it?
No, I think you
I
just.
made the motion, but I'd love to second it too. if
Oh,
that's
okay.
necessary.
Either way, at least you could second it.
All right,
You
I'll
did.
second, whatever.
Okay, everybody not in favor of adjourning, say aye. Well, looks like we're adjourned.
Okay.
Okay, all right,
Okay, stay
all
well.
right,
Bye.
right, bye.
Bye. I don't have a.